Good evening, everyone. Welcome to the News Today edition of 10th of September, wherein we try and make all important news for the day in the most simplest format for you guys to understand. So let's look at the important news which we're going to cover today. Firstly, CP Radhakrishnan has been elected as the 15th Vice President of India. The Child Nutrition Report 2025 has been released by UNICEF. Prime Minister of Nepal has resigned as the Gen Z protest has turned out to be violent. The central government has sought report on tribal rights concerns in Great Nicobar Island project. And Swachh Vayu Sarveshan Award 2025 has been announced by Ministry of Environment and Forest and Climate Change. We're also going to cover personality in news, that is Govind, Ballabh, Pant, along with quick updates for the day. So the very first news, again, you know about our former vice president has resigned, and again that led to a election to this constitutional post. So the election has been concluded, and again CP Radhakrishnan has been elected as a new Vice President of India. Again, an important topic for your examination because the post of Vice President is very important. Again, in prelims examination as well as in means examination of paper number 2 under the topic of executive, even parliament, because he's also the ex officio chairman of Rajya Sabha. So let's look at how does the election happens. So the vice president or president of India has been given the second highest constitutional office after the president of India. And very important fact, and this is where questions around UPSC will be asked. You understand that, again, if there is a post or a constitutional post which is vacant, so there is some mechanism or there is some way in which the constitution tells if that post is vacant, how that particular or the duties of that particular post will be done. But in case of vice president of India, constitution is silent on this. It tells that it does not mention who will be handling the duties of vice president if the post falls vacant. This is very unique, and this is a point which could be asked in your examination. Then generally, how does the election happens? Again, Article 63 talks about that India must have a vice president, and again Article 64 talks about he is the ex officio chairman of Rajya Sabha, that is the presiding officer of the upper house, that is Rajya Sabha. What is the meaning of ex officio chairman? Ex officio basically means by virtue of holding the office of vice president of India, he automatically gets elected as the chairman of Rajya Sabha. So again, there is no separate election required for the election of chairman of Rajya Sabha. Just because he is the prime minister, he automatically gets that office as well. Clear? Then we have Article 65, which talks about that again he is going to impart the duties of President of India in case the President of India the post has become vacant due to death, resignation, removal, or any other scenario, or due to ill health. Vice President is going to be acting as a President of India. Basic idea. Then in terms of election, again we have discussed multiple times, but again why we are discussing it again and again, because this body has been in news for last couple of months, and that makes this post very important, or this body very important for your next year prelims examination. So for the election, it requires 20 members of parliament to propose, 20 members of parliament to second, that is proposers and seconders, and and every candidate has to deposit a sum of 15,000 rupees, and also he has to show a proof of being a voter in India. Then who is voting? Again, a difference between the electoral college of president and vice president. Here, both elected as well as nominated persons are going to vote in the election process of Vice President of India. But in case of President, there is no nominated members are supposed to vote in that process. Then we have how they are voting. Again, the whole process of single proportional representation by single transferable vote system. That is an idea. The voting is held in a secret ballot, right? And again, the vote value of each and every person is 1, unlike the president of India, right? And then This is held in a secret ballot and there is no whip. That is, no political party can tell its member that again you are going to vote for this person as a vice president, and there is no application of anti-defection law in this particular instance. That is the idea of there is no whip which is there in the election of vice president of India. So that's the basic idea. Again, read that body, very important. All other functions, how does he do a lot of tasks as the chairman of Rajya Sabha, right? Then in general, who is eligible to become the vice president of India? Article 66 talks about it. It talks that again, he should be a citizen of India. He should not have been more than, let's say, 35 years of age is minimum, or older, of course. And again, very important, it is telling he should be qualified to be a member of Rajya Sabha. He should not be a member. It is not mandatory. But the idea is he should be qualified to be becoming a member of Rajya Sabha, clear? And then he should not be holding any office of profit. That is a basic idea. So these are the 4 qualifications which has been mentioned in the Constitution of India with respect to the post of vice president under Article 66. Any question? Again, generally around prelims, they can be questioned. But again, as of in mains, there has been one question which was asked in the year 2022. Again, that post was in news back then, and there was a question. Discuss the role of Vice President of India as the chairman of Rajya Sabha. Right. So very beautiful. You can discuss about what kind of roles, responsibilities he is doing as the ex-officio chairman of Rajya Sabha. Right. This is something we are going to write down in the answers. Please attempt this answer, and that is how you're going to get an understanding of the topics which you are reading, and at the very same time you are practicing the answer writing, which is very, very important component. Given the time we have progressed, September has started, so that's the time we should be focusing more on our answer writing aspect, because later on, after the month of February, March, we will dedicatedly focusing on the prelims examination. The next topic for the day. So a child nutrition report has been released by UNICEF, again, which is talking about the idea that it has been growing obesity in children across the globe. Again, very important topic for your GS paper number 2, that is issues related to children, and generally paper number 2 as well, because we have been discussing an idea of, again, the children have been consuming ultra processed foods. So again, that takes another topic, that is the food processing sector of India, which is again coming under paper 3 of your syllabus. So again, maybe you're going to read basically about what are the roles and responsibilities of UNICEF, what kind of reports it releases, and again, in this news, we are going to cover what exactly UNICEF has been talking about with respect to the obesity which has been rising among children at a global level. So it has told that children nowadays are consuming a lot of ultra processed food. Sir, what are ultra processed foods? Many times you see chips, the sodas, the drinks, or maybe the cold drinks what you drink. Many times you see pre-packed foods. For example, you see na ki dal makhani is prepared in a piece of, let's say, in a packet. You just pour it, and again, dal makhani will be made. This is an idea of ultra processed foods, right? So the consumption of ultra processed foods among children has been rising, and that has been one major reason which has been contributing to obesity among children across the globe. Because why it is rising? Why we are consuming ultra processed foods? Ask yourself the question. The changing lifestyle, the changing nature of, let's say, mother and father both are working. So again, they do not have time to prepare food. So many other reasons. Again, that is somewhere I discussed about a social reason. There are other different reasons, which is again inclining of maybe the food habit has been changing with respect to consumption of these ultra processed foods. Right. So again, this is one major reason. What exactly this report has found out with respect to the child obesity? It has been telling us that 5% of the children under 5 years of age across the globe are obese. And when it talks about children between the age group of 5 to 19 years, they are overweight again. And the number is 20%, which is very high. Then it is also telling that again, children who are going to schools between the age group of 5 to 19 again, so 9.4% are obese, and 9.2% are underweight. So two contrasting problem. We are telling that again there is obesity, and at the very same time the report is also telling that again we are having very less food which is not being given, and that has been leading to what we call as children getting underweight. Clear? And then it has also demarcated three major regions of the world where again this incident of problem is very high: in the East Asia Pacific region, in the Latin American and the Caribbean region, and in the South Asian region. India comes under the South Asian region, and this is where the report has again highlighted how this incident in the South Asian countries has been rising very drastically in the last 5 years. It is telling that again 5 times since 2000 there has been a rise in obese children in South Asian countries. What are the reasons which this report has highlighted? Number one, it is telling that again how easily these ultra processed food are available, because many times you see that again example, let's say you eat cereals, sugar cereals, the cornflakes, again an example of ultra processed food, because changing lifestyle, people do not have time to cook for themselves. And technically many times, let's say parents have been giving such food to children because again that is not their problem. The kind of awareness is not there among people that again how much it is bad for the health. And technically if you see how are these foods made of: corn, sugar, let's say wheat, right? That is how you see. But again they are very ultra processed, and many times it has also been seen that again government has been giving a lot of subsidies on these ingredients, let's say soy, wheat and corn. And many times people of low income group find these ultra processed foods more affordable as compared to traditional food. This is one major reason. Then it has also talked about the idea of aggressive marketing, that how it is not just traditional ads. Now influencers are also maybe advertising these ultra processed foods, not directly. For example, if you understand, there is some, let's say example, you are watching a video, there is one YouTuber who is playing a game, and while playing a game he is having a can of cold drink in his hand. So indirectly you get, maybe children get fascinated by such show off. I'm playing a game, I'm having a coke, a bottle of, let's say, cold drink or a can of cold drink. This is again attracting children towards these ultra processed foods. That has been one major reason, that how through influencers and how through advertisement these ultra processed foods have been gaining popularity, especially among children. Then we have weaker policies, because if we talk about nutritious food, so governments across the globe, there is only 7% of countries which are giving nutritional labels in those ultra processed food packets. Then only consumers can be made aware ki what are the benefits of the food which we are consuming, whether they have any nutrition or any nutrients or not. And this is one major reason where again there is no such policies across the globe among the governments which is making mandatory that again there should be nutritional label which should be there in the packet, very clearly visible. Then we have only 8% of the countries are giving subsidies on healthier food. That is again going by the idea maybe that how to make healthy food cheaper. Then what exactly UNICEF has suggested when we talk about the idea of obesity, and again how we can make people aware about its how dangerous it is. Number one is protect breastfeeding. Number one, because if you understand, generally we speak about that again, once a woman gave birth to a child, the child is going to be given or being fed on mother's milk for at least 6 months, because mother's milk is very nutritious. It contains a lot of antibodies which are required by a child. But what we have seen, generally with a changing lifestyle, people have been not doing this task, and they have been relying on formula substitutes. Again, advertisement and again changing lifestyle is one major reason. So again, they are telling, UNICEF has told, please protect, and maybe the breastfeeding is a compulsory thing, minimum for 6 period of months. Then it has talked about that in this whole ecosystem of food processing industries, there has to be some government intervention. Maybe impose more amount of tax on junk foods. Maybe put clear nutritional labels on the packaging of these foods, followed by restrict the advertisement and sales, which is attracting the children to consume these ultra processed foods. There are no direct advertisements, indirect advertisements also there. That also needs to be regulated and stopped. Then it has also talked about that again, healthy food has to be promoted. People have to be made aware about the benefits of these eating healthy foods. For example, fruits, vegetables, pulses, and again, which is again going to promote the idea of local farming and again encouraging the farmer or increasing the farmer's income. Then it has also talked about that again, with respect to, we have discussed generally, the report has also talked about that again, low income families are consuming these ultra processed foods. Why not, under the nutrition program of respective governments, you're going to give some subsidized foods along with the nutrition which is going to be given, so that the reliance of these low income families on ultra processed foods is going to get reduced. How we can do this? By giving social protection schemes, again making people aware, parents aware about the ill effects of these ultra processed foods and how it has been a growing incidence, and how obesity has been one major reason of obesity has been contributed to the consumption of these ultra processed food by children. That is a basic idea which UNICEF has suggested. So in general, again, very important, these food processing industries are there who are processing these ultra processed foods as well. So again, this topic is there in your paper number 3 very specifically. In this year's UPSC mains examination, there was a question around the topic of food processing industry that was there. Examine the scope of food processing industries in India. Elaborate the measures taken by government in food processing industries for generating employment opportunities. We have also discussed many times decided again how food processing industries is contributing with respect to the how agricultural exports, processed foods exports has been on demand, and this industry has a lot of scope in terms of employment generation and many other things. Clear? Then the next topic for the day. So again, all of you know about the disturbance which has been going on in our neighboring country of Nepal, where again there has been protests specifically by the Gen Z group. Who are these Gen Zs? Gen Zs are the people who have generally, they are born after 1995. So technically they are called as Gen Zs. Right. So again, in the generation of internet, that is a maybe expression which this Gen Z word is trying to describe. So there has been a disturbance in Nepal, and again, Gen Zs have been protesting a lot, and the protest has become very violent, and they have burnt down the parliament, the offices or the residences of important constitutional posts or important ministers. And recently, and in fact, yesterday, the Prime Minister of Nepal has resigned. That is why it was in news. So it is very important for us as a country which something is going on in our neighboring country. We should know what exactly is the reason and how India is going to tackle the situation which is happening in Nepal. Again, important for your GS paper number 2, India and its neighborhood. So why people are protesting? Because number 1, frustration with the political leaders. Among the youth, there is growing unemployment. Development is not happening. If unemployment, youth are not getting jobs. And in fact, the youth has been seeing that these political leaders have been living a very lavish lifestyle in terms of living in luxury, and there's a lot of corruption going on, and privileges are being enjoyed only by these political leaders. At the very same time, there is an issue of unemployment, and there is no one who is accountable to the situation which is there in Nepal with respect to unemployment, poverty, anything like that. And this is where the frustration was developed among the youth, specifically the Gen Z, and they started to protest. Protest was initially maybe a very calm and composed protest, but again, why it turned out to be violent? Let's see. Number 1, the government back then, because again, if protests are happening, What is the usual course of expression which people do with the growing incidence of maybe influence which this social media platform has? People are expressing their opinion on these social media platforms. The Nepal government has banned the 26 social media platforms, which has again agitated these Gen Z who have been using these social media platforms to express their view to the maybe generally towards the government. That was one major point where again the Gen Z got agitated, and then the police, instead of maybe listening to them, instead of maybe the government understanding, taking up a course of action where again a collaboration, a discussion should have happened, police started to maybe fire at the protesters. Even firing was done at protesters. Again, a lot of maybe water cannons and maybe let's say a smoke, machines were used. And in fact, firing was done on these protesters. And that has led to, this was a last triggering point which has made these protesters even very angrier. And then this violent nature of protest has erupted. So again, protest is correct, but again, uh, there is very hard at this point to tell who is at fault. Maybe the idea of accountability, the idea of democracy, everything is at question at this point of time. But again, the situation could have been handled in a better manner by the government of Nepal. That is one thing. Then, in general, why is it specifically mattering for India? Again, Nepal is a very close tie with India, and again, it's a neighboring country, in fact. And with this uncertainty or instability in Nepal, it has again led to the whole idea of regional instability around the region, where again we have seen instability in Sri Lanka with the idea of economic crisis. We have seen a political turmoil recently in Bangladesh. So with this Nepal, the regional stability around the region is in big question. With this, it is going to have us very much spillover effect because we have been trading with Nepal. There's a lot of maybe people of Nepal who are staying in India, they are sending back their remittances. Again, it is going to have a lot of spillover effect in the terms of trade, market, and money flow. Then refugees. Whenever there is any protest or any instability in a particular country, the ideas of refugees emerge because government is not there. Technically, there is no government over there. So again, how people and how these is going to turn out to be the idea of refugees, which again has a problem with respect to, let's say, creating humanitarian issues, then security challenges along the borders, then security issues because India is sharing border with Nepal. Again, it is leading to a border security management with respect to smuggling may rise, illegal crossing across the borders might happen, and even hostile groups might be taking advantage of this particular situation. And lastly, very important, India has been on a diplomatic stress as of now. So something which is there in Nepal is again going to add on the diplomatic stress which India has been going through. Right. So this is are the some reasons that again why it is very important matter for India. And recently, our honorable Prime Minister has done a cabinet meeting, and he has told it is very important for us to stabilize the whole situation in Pakistan, and we are going to do our best effort to again bring about the idea of peace and stability in the country. Clear? The next topic is Center has staked report on tribal right concerns in the Great Nicobar Island project. Again, a project of development has been announced very maybe 2-3 years back in the Great Nicobar Island. But there are, of course, tribal people living over there. So tribal people have now contested that our tribal rights have not been heard of, and they have appealed. And this is where the central government has basically sought an opinion ki what are the concerns which this tribal people are having with respect to the developmental project of the in the Great Nicobar Island. Again, very important topic generally in economics and as well as in paper number 2 with an idea of social justice. Again, tribal people coming under vulnerable sections of society. So again, important for your paper number 2 as well as 3. Then, what exactly is this Great Nicobar Island project? So technically, government wanted that there was less development at par with other areas of the country. So the government planned that again, let's develop this great Nicobar island. So technically, they have announced that they are going to make an international container port at the Galatha Bay so that big ships can stop there. A port, again the whole idea of port development. Then they are going to also plan a new international airport. In fact, it is going to be a greenfield project. We have discussed the idea of greenfield and brownfield project. Greenfield projects are those kind of projects which are started from the very scratch. Brownfield projects are those projects which is an addition or a something which is already there and we are maybe updating it or upgrading it. That is an idea of brownfield project in a very general terms. So again, a greenfield project or new international airport is going to be constructed under this particular developmental program. Then we have also planned the development of a township, that is a planned city in the region, followed by we are going to, because energy is very important. So again, power plants, both gas as well as solar, is to be constituted under this particular program for the supply of electricity. Niti Aayog, again, this program was again approved by the government of India in 2022 under this Holistic Development of Islands project. Niti Aayog is the charge of this developmental project, and the Andaman and Nicobar Islands Integrated Development Corporation has been set up, who is going to take up this developmental effort all around all of these regions, who is going to build such projects. And then, again, very important, because environment, again, a lot of forest cover in Great Nicobar. So this is where this program has also taken up into consideration the idea of environment versus the idea of development. So again, it has told we are going to use approximately 130 square kilometers of forest land, which is needed for this developmental project. But they have told that half of its promised area is going to be promised. That again, we are promising that this half of this 130 square kilometers is going to be green and no tree will be felled in the developmental process. That is what this project has made a promise. But why are the tribal people having concern over there? Clear? Let's see one by one. So again, indigenous tribes are living in this Great Nicobar Island. In fact, some of the primitive, particularly vulnerable tribal group, that is PBTs, are there. Very important topic for a prelims examination. They can ask you the name of these tribes, and they can ask you where do they are found in India. So again, the Champains, again a PBTG, and the Nicobaris are the two important tribal communities which are there in this Great Nicobar Islands. What are their worries? They are telling that again, we have, because generally understand, tribal people have their own way of living, their own customs, their own traditions. They have been traditionally relying on forest as their inhabitation. They have their own way of life. And again, with the idea of development, it is something which is going to affect the lifestyle, the way they are living, and the way they are dealing with the environment. This is where there are concerns that again, the habitat, culture and livelihood of the tribal people are going to be affected with this particular project. They have also told that under the Forest Rights Act of 2006, which is giving maybe tribal people a right over the forest. We are going to discuss what exactly is this. So they are telling that again, under this, we have been given right, not just only for habitat, but habitation as well. That again, we are not just going to build our houses, but again, how we are managing the spiritual, cultural, and economic. Because now what you understand is tribal people have been worshipping these forests. Now, if project of development is going around that particular region, if trees are being cut, how they will feel that again some forest which we have been worshipping, that is being cut out for a developmental project. And then we have also recognized under the Forest Rights Act community forest rights. That again, as a group of people, you enjoy certain community rights over the forest. Example for food, medicine, and rituals. They have also told that again, the tribal council has complained that again, all of these rights which this Forest Rights of 2006 has given to this tribal people, they have not been properly recognized or settled before the clearance to this Great Nicobar Island project was given. That was the concern, and that is where center government has asked maybe a question to the project that again, why are these tribal people putting up concerns? Then in general, again, environmental concerns, there are two major species of fauna found over there. Again, I have picked up a picture because if you understand, that was also in news. In the Galatha Bay, there is a major nesting ground for an endangered species, what we call as leatherback turtle. Again, this leatherback turtle is in news. You're going to read about it. This is how it looks like. And then the island is also home to Nicobar megapode, which is a unique grounded bird. Again, this is a picture over here, and it is again coming under Schedule 1 of the Wildlife Protection Act of 1972. Again, these two species have been in use. Go and why it is important, again, whenever species comes back in news, you're going to see them in picture. So pictorial memory is going to be staying with you for the longer duration of time, just maybe in comparison to just reading the names, right? That is why I have picked out the picture, and you do this task for whenever it's any kind of species you are reading in news or in generally in your static part of syllabus. Then again, technically, basically about Forest Rights Act, because it was in news. Traditionally, it was seen that again, tribals have been suffering a lot due to the developmental projects, and again, their rights over the forest where they have been inhabiting since generations have not been recognized. So this forest scheduled tribes and other traditional forest dwellers act of 2006 was passed, which is of course going to give tribals rights over their forest. That is something which has been in question in this particular matter. Individual rights, community rights, and again, there is a formation of a forest right committee at every district level, which is going to see whether these rights are actually given to the tribal people or not. And it is also going to check any kind of a claim and make sure they are honored before any project is going to be started in any of these tribal regions. Clear? So again, very important topic generally. So I will ask you a question. Tell me in comment, Schedule 5 and Schedule 6 of the Constitution contains what kind of provisions? Clear? Anything related to tribal people or not? Tell me in comment. And what is the difference between Schedule 5 and Schedule 6 of Indian Constitution? There was one question around the topic of this, that if a particular area is brought under the 5th schedule of the Constitution of India, which of the following statements best reflects a consequence of it? Again, read Schedule 5 and Schedule 6 and tell me in comment what would be the answer of this particular question. Moving on to the next topic. So recently, Ministry of Environment, Forest and Climate Change has given Swachh Vayu Suvirikshan Award 2025, which is an idea of, because we have a problem of air pollution. So any city which is doing well in order to tackle the problem of air pollution, this is an award which is given. So again coming under the National Clean Air Program of Government of India. Let's look at what exactly this award talks about. So again, it is recognizing best performing cities and how exactly they are tackling the problem of air pollution. It is coming under the National Clean Air Program of Government, and 130 cities has been recognized under this National Clean Air Program, wherein we are targeting to reduce air pollution in these 130 cities. Now, understand this very important factor that again, we understand Delhi is a very big city. Let's say Meerut is a very small city. We cannot do or compare these one small city, one medium city, and one large city at a very same level. So this is where to give these kind of awards, cities have been classified on the basis of population, what they have, because population is also one major factor in terms of contribution to air pollution. So 3 categories of cities have been devised under this particular award. Number 1 is big cities, which has population of more than 10 lakh, medium cities 3 to 10 lakhs, and smaller cities having less than 3 lakh of population. This is the category of cities which has been classified under this 150 cities in India. The this particular award has been awarded to 11 cities across these 3 category. Under the big cities, Indore has been ranked one. Again, very important. Indore has been doing very well. It is going to be one good example in terms of how it has been getting continuous good award or your top award in terms of Swachh Bharat mission, as well as the idea of Swachh Sarveshan, the whole idea of air pollution also. Indore has been ranked one under category one among big cities, followed by Jabalpur, Agra, and Surat. Agra has again done very well because we have seen pollution was very much high with the tannery industries and a lot of time over there. So again, it has done very well. Agra and Surat jointly has been awarded a third spot. In the medium cities, Amravati followed by Jhansi and Moradabad at a joint award, followed by Alwar. And in small cities, Devas, Parvanu and Angul has been awarded the award. So 11 cities have been given award under this particular category. The award has also told that again cities have been categorized on these basic parameters, how they have worked towards tackling the problem of air pollution. Number one, how they have reduced biomass and waste burning, because burning leads to again air pollution. Then how they are tackling the problem of road dust and construction dust, major contributor of air pollution. Then the idea of vehicular smoke, factory pollution, how people are being made aware about that, again how they can contribute towards tackling the problem of air pollution. And lastly, improvement in PM10 level. PM10 is very basic, very tiny particles that can harm our lungs. So on these 5-6 parameters, award has been given to these 11 cities, that how well they have been doing with an idea of clean air along these particular parameters. Clear? So in general, we are also going to read upon the National Clean Air Program, which was launched in the year 2019, again by Ministry of Environment, Forest and Climate Change. Again, they are telling that again we are going to give 131, we are going to pick up 131 polluted cities, and again we are going to tackle the problem of air pollution over there. The target is to reduce PM10 dust by 40%, if not 40%, at least reach by safe standards by 25 and 26 on the basis of 1920 levels. Again, monitoring has to be done. It is not only going to be thing like that, again we have launched a program, but again the problem was its implementation and monitoring. This program has done that. It has created a portal with the name of let's say Prana portal. It is portal for regulation of air pollution in non-attainment cities, and it is tracking that how progress is happening with respect to tackling the problem of air pollution. And again, it is implemented by Central Pollution Control Board. Clear? Again, important topic for your prelims examination. CPCB is in news. Let's see, there was a question on the topic of CPCB. How is the national NGT, that is National Green Tribunal, different from Central Pollution Control Board? Prelims examination of questions. So again, you read about NGT, you have read about CPCB. So tell me in comment, by reading the question, what would be the answer of this particular question. So whenever a body of environment comes in news, you're going to basically read upon them, about them, because this is a static part of a syllabus. NGT you must have read, CPCB you must have read. Tell me in comment what would be the answer of this particular question. This is how you're going to revise something back. Something which is you have read in static topic, it again comes in news. This gives you an opportunity to revise those static topics again. And with this revision, you are going to retain them, because examination cycle is of 1 year. So again, it requires a lot of revision to retain such facts. And these kind of news gives you a scope for revision as well. Clear? Moving on to the personality in news. So again, there is a birth anniversary of Govind Ballabh Pant, 10th of September. So basic personality, again, he was a freedom fighter, very important. Nowadays, you have been seeing again how UPSC has been asking questions around personalities as well. So basically, he was born in Almora, Uttarakhand. He has been founder of Kumaon Parishad in 1916. He was elected to UP Legislative Council on the Swaraj Party ticket in 1923. In terms of freedom struggle, he had participated in Salt March and Quit India movement. He was also arrested in 1930 for planning civil disobedience movement. In terms of his political roles, he is the first Chief Minister of Uttar Pradesh. He has been the Home Minister of India since 1955 to 61 and has led linguistic reorganization of states along with Sardar Vallabh Patel. And then, in terms of values, what he has been holding, he has been awarded as Bharat Ratna in the year 1957, and he embedded a kind of courageous integrity and compassion with the kind of values he have been holding. Again, important topic for your prelims as well as mains examination. Moving on to the quick updates for the day. So, Section 29A of the Representation of People Act of 1951. So, with respect to political party registration, let's say I and maybe let's few of us come together, and again we have planned that again let's form a political party. Is it possible? Yes, it is possible. We are living in a democratic country, so it is just how you are going to recognize it. So, mere 10 people gathering and forming a political party is not going to be recognized by Election Commission of India. So there is a process. That again, within 30 days of formation of a political party, you are going to register your party with the Election Commission of India. That is number one. Election Commission of India has been authorized to register political parties under Article 324 of Constitution and Section 29A of Representation Act of 1951 tells how exactly registration process should start and how it should happen. It tells that again every political party has to pledge loyalty to the Indian Constitution, uphold the ideas of socialism, secularism, democracy, which is there as a philosophy of Indian Constitution, protect the sovereignty, unity, and integrity of India. So again, political parties are going to pledge on these particular parameters, and whether registration is going to be done or not, final authority is Election Commission of India. What is the recent change here, sir? You know, maybe the criminalization of politics has been in news. So Election Commission of India has told we are going to update the registration process. We are going to make sure that verification of antecedents, or basically, let's say we are forming a party, there would be one founding member. So background check of that founding member has to be done so that any criminal background person or any suspicious background person is not included in the domain of politics. As simple as that. Clear? The next topic, National Scheduled Tribe Finance Development Corporation. So this corporation was basically set up to help tribal people with an idea of development. It was started by Ministry of Tribal Affairs in the year 2001, which is going to, this corporation is going to support the socio-economic and educational upliftment of scheduled tribes. How it is exactly functioning? It is helping in terms of giving them the ideas of self-employment, by giving them economic independence, by giving them some kind of financial support. It is also helping in terms of imparting them skills, in terms of training them, in terms of encouraging tribal youth in terms of skill development. So this is the basic mandate of this particular corporation. So recently a collaboration has been done, or a MOU has been signed between Coal India Limited and this particular corporation. That again, Coal India is going to help this particular corporation with respect to Eklavya model residential schools in terms of providing financial support. Very important. Then the next topic, UK India Infrastructure Financing Bridge. So with an idea of infrastructure development, India has collaborated with UK in terms of how we are going to how UK is going to invest in India's infrastructure development, and how many times modern technique of infrastructure development in terms of good practices, in terms of best technology, in terms of how are some things is going to be different. it is going to be helping India in that aspect as well. So it was in news. It has completed its 1 year anniversary of this collaboration. So basically, this collaboration is between Niti Aayog and City of London, that is UK, in terms of how investment and expertise in India's infrastructure development is going to be provided by United Kingdom. So long-term funding is there. Number one, what this, because we have completed 1 year of this particular collaboration. So UK has basically released its recommendations that again moving forward, we have observed this two things in last 1 year. So please take into consideration these few recommendations which we are providing. They have told कि India, whenever you are making any procurement in the domain of infrastructure, please follow the global standards. Number one, they have also talked that again you need to address the operational risk and improve the transparency in the construction projects. Basically, it is going to create a bridge between India's infrastructure projects and India being an investor friendly and reliable country. This is something very important. You can talk about it in the domain of infrastructure development as well. Any question around that topic? The next topic, EU has expanded the India seafood export access. So there are many new, let's say, establishment or fishery companies which has been recognized by European Union so that they can export to European Union market. So 102 such more Indian fishery establishments have been approved by EU. So again, because it is going to increase the seafood exports to EU by 20%, and then it is showing the global trust of India's safe food and quality standards in terms of export, and it is going to boost the export of shrimp, squid, cuttlefish and octopus. So a big step with the growing idea of trade and trade wars. India has been exporting a lot of shrimps to US. So this is again an opportunity for India and such industries in India who were exporting seafoods with this kind of development. The next topic is India Energy Stack, IES. So all of you know about UPI, that is a digital infrastructure for the process of payment. Similarly, Government of India has been planning to do a similar kind of, let's say, UPI like platform for the power sector of the country. So that again, collaboration and again, joint development should happen around the power sector. That is an idea of India Energy Stack. It is something which Government of India has been planning. So let's look at initiative of Ministry of Power, basically a DPI in the power sector. And again, the goal is to create a connected, smart and interoperable energy ecosystem, which is going to connect entire power system of the country, just like UPI has been there in the payment interface. Key features include, it is going to create an open standard and interoperability framework. Then it is going to be having utility intelligence platform, so that again all major power developers can share their development, their innovation, so that again overall development of the power sector would happen with a joint collaboration, and everything will be there in one such platform. That is India Energy Stack. So in this, the current step which government has talked about is a new step. So government has basically has conducted a stakeholder survey, which is going to check how these power sector companies are ready for this kind of energy stack program, which Government of India is planning. Clear? The next topic, Vembanad Lake has been in news because, of course, generally major tourist spots have started to degrade because of what? Unchecked tourism. Luxury houseboats have been there in the Vembanad Lake, that whole idea of backwaters, and then decades of encroachment. So all of these reasons has been pointed out with respect to deterioration of Vembanad Lake. That is why it was in news. So again, you're going to read about the basic features of Vembanad Lake. It is the India's longest lake and largest tropical wetland. Very important. It is coming under the Ramsar site. It is in Kerala. It is fed by 10 rivers, which is feeding this Vembanad Lake, and it has something called as Thaner Mukkulam salt water barrier, because Kerala is a coastal state. Seawater is there, fresh water is there. Farmer uses what? Fresh water for agriculture. So this lake has been providing the because it has what we call as largest mud regulator. It is something which is providing fresh water to the farmers of Kerala. Very important component. It is again majorly, it is very famous for backwater tourism, again famous for Nehru Trophic boat race, and also for Kettuvulams. So that is why, but again, it has been degrading due to over tourism and all such factors. So that is why it was in news. The next topic, CLAMP, Climate Leaf Analysis Multi-Variety Program. So basically, if we want to know about history, fossil study is very important. So in this particular program, the leaves of the plants are being studied, and we are predicting that again how Antarctica was the one who have been contributing to the Indian monsoons. And this is somewhere it is going to give us an idea that again what kind of environment we have been living since decades or since centuries, and where we are now, and also going to help us predict that again how much resilient with which we are with respect to the climate change which has been happening in the country. So let's say if you're studying a leaf, it is going to tell us ki since how it was there during the period of ice age, right, and how it has maybe adapted itself, what changes it has made, how well it has incorporated with the idea of climate change. So all of this is going to be helping us in order to predict, in order to understand what were we in history in terms of climate, and how we have been progressing, and where we are going to head with the idea of climate change happening in the across the globe. So this is an idea which has been there with respect to this CLAMP program. So basic facts, we are going to see the leaf shape, size and margins. Again, study is going to be happening in Nagaland, which is going to show Antarctica's role in shaping Indian monsoon, and it is going to help us to predict future climate trends by comparing past and present. Very simple. Now, personalized adaptive learning, again it is in news. So why? Because the Nobel laureate Michael Krimer has recognized that Andhra Pradesh government schools have been using this personalized adaptive learning mechanism, which has improved or in fact doubled the learning rate among students. It is no such tool, it is just a way of teaching. In this, we are not teaching because in a classroom, you understand, it's very important fact. In a classroom, if there are a group of students, every student has its own capability, its own learning capacity. So one shoe size fit all or one approach fit all was not working. So with this personalized adaptive learning mechanism, Andhra Pradesh government tried a very personal way of teaching students. If there is a weak student, we are going to maybe teach them in a different manner as compared to some student who is comparatively stronger academically as compared to the other one. This is how the learning outcome will increase among students. And in fact, it has told, and in fact, this Nobel laureate has in fact recognized that again, how through this adaptive, adopting this particular strategy, Andhra Pradesh government schools has doubled the learning outcome among these. So again, basic idea that again, students are going to learn at their own pace, own level and style. And again, we are going to move away from the one size fits all teaching, and it is going to promote the idea of flexible and adaptive learning environment. Clear? So with this, we come to an end of this today's news today discussion. All important topics which you have read and from which UPSC type questions could be framed will be popping up in your screen. It is now your responsibility that again to get a satisfaction that again I have read, I have understood, now I am able to solve the question. It is going to give you a lot of confidence in terms of preparation. Please post in comments your answers, which is going to create a very competitive spirit among all students who are watching this initiative by Vision IS. Lastly, Vision IS has come up with a digital current affairs platform, which is a one-stop solution for all your UPSC related current affairs issues. Please go and navigate through the website. It is going to help you a lot in terms of your current affairs preparation. So with this, thank you very much and all the very best.